Matthew, quite a busy day for you on Sunday, starting off in the first of the afternoon with Poor Man's Lady and Sahira.
Yeah, Poor Man's Ladies, she ran a nice race last time, got a little bit bulked for a run the last 300, so she got a good draw again. I'm sure she'll be right there again. Sahira's very limited. She's probably just going to have one or two more runs and then either go to a weaker centre or go on a sail.
Yeah, a filly that I thought would have won by now. She certainly shows that she's certainly not a maiden. You know, obviously there are things that we may be missing. She shows a lot of speed at home, and maybe being by trippy, that was the first mistake that we've made, being Al-Sahim's sister. Maybe the turn and the little bit of extra distance will help her. She must have a chance.
Okay, and then on to the second, you've got the interesting horse called Macbull.
Yeah, he's been doing quite well lately. He ran a nice race in the Work Riders. He obviously is limited, but he's nice and consistent and can run into the money as well.
PJ Prince, the distance may be a question mark, but he's always a horse that I felt would be more effective over a bit more ground. I think his last run can be ignored. I think he got caught a little bit far back in a slow run race, and he's not a horse that can quicken. And I wouldn't be too concerned about his last run. He should improve a lot on that.
We start off in the first leg of the place accumulator with a horse called Down to Zero, back-to-back seconds, a victory over Surcharge. Looks a little bit more than useful.
Yeah, he's a really nice horse, Andrew. We actually thought that he's a horse that's just been improving and getting better and better with each start. As a young horse also, we thought that he would be nice and progressive the older he got. Taking him down to Durban, he may just not have been ready for that. And if you look at that, that's really probably his only bad run. So he's quite a consistent horse, and he is improving. What we've seen at home is he probably enjoys the sprints, but he is versatile and he can run up to a 1400. This is a competitive 1160, and I think it gives us a great indication of exactly where we do stand with him, and if we maybe have had high expectations, or our expectations of him throughout the season will be true.
Yeah, very obviously disappointing last run, and I'm not quite sure why. Personally, I think he may need to be gelded. Which doesn't make the owners happy to hear, but I do think that might be an issue with them. And really this is a run just to see if that is the case, or whether it was just a little bit of an aberration last time. He ran no kind of a race, and he was gone a long way out, which didn't really figure with his work or anything else. He's a good little worker, a solid worker. And I think the way that he won his maiden plate was pretty spectacular, really. He did it in great style. Pedigree-wise, hard to work out whether he wants more ground, or if he's just restricted to 1,000. 1160, the way he won his 1,000, you would have thought he would have got 1160 easy enough. So I don't think the distance is really the issue. But, well, we're just going to wait and see. But I just hope it's a much better run than last time.
Hakeem, he's a horse with plenty of potential, one would think.
Yeah, he ran a nice race last time. Very happy with his progress. We dropped him back to the sprint, and he seemed to really enjoy that. I think this is a nice race for him, and I think he's got a big chance.
Your dad's never been one to mince his words, and he was anything but enamoured with the ride given to Ideal Secret.
Yeah, look, in a race, split-second decisions come down to a matter of winning or losing a race, and sometimes you can't always get those split-second decisions right. So he's a really nice horse. Being an ideal world, he's just getting better and better with time, and we're really happy with where he is at the moment. Also, a really competitive race again, and he is a horse that is progressive, and we're expecting a good run from him.
Yeah, it's a nice race. Obviously, he's coming back from surgery, so he'll be in need of the run. But he has got a lot of class, and he has had a lot of work, so it wouldn't surprise me to see him run well. But this is all just about him enjoying himself and coming on with the run.
Yes, having said that, there's I think Michael AZZIE's got a very good 3-year-old in the race, and obviously Michael at the KOCK is bringing back Heavenly Blue, who's a Group 1 winner, defeating Al-Sahim. I think over the mile I would have to lean towards social order, but Tilbury Fort is certainly capable, and I expect them both to run well, probably favouring social order.
The same has to be said to a certain extent about Full Mast. He's also an extremely talented individual with really good form.
Yeah, talented horse and consistent. It's nice to train these consistent horses. The only pity is that because they're decent and they may run in the winter, they get these enormous handicaps, and then you've got to sort of box around having a high rating for the rest of their career, or have they been over handicapped, or are they just going to be horses that are one-time winners that keep running consistently well in strong fields? And it's something you just have to work with and work around, but he is a nice horse, and he came out of his run last week, Thursday, really well. This looks like a competitive field. I know Mr. Peters, they think highly of his horse. I've heard whispers of they think that the horse is going to win the Triple Crown for them. So if they're thinking that, they must have really high expectations of him, and he's probably the horse that everyone will have to beat, drawn wherever he is, 1 or 12. If he's going to be that good, he'll probably be competitive in this type of field. But Full Mast is a hard knocker, and he won't go down without a shout.
Yeah, Alpha has obviously been very disappointing. We rested him again, and we tried a few one or two things different. Hopefully he can come back to his old form, because, you know, he is a horse with ability. Farouk's coming off a rest. He'll probably be in need of the run, but he is honest as well. And Secret Captain's been putting up some good work. We've taken our time with him. You know, it's his first run for the stable, so we're obviously just going to have to learn. It's a very competitive field. I think all three of our runners will definitely improve from the run.
Yeah, Finn Chatton has to be one of the unluckiest horses in racing, Andrew. He's very talented, and there are not many races for him over the 1400. He has a distinct preference for the inside course, which we won't see until March, and always seems to draw poorly. So he really does look like an in and out sort, but he is a specialist over 1400 that has limited opportunity, and once again he's drawn poorly, but fortunately he does get on very well with Callan Murray, and I'm hoping that we can have a little bit of luck in running from that draw. The horse is very well. Torridel Aura has been quite busy of late, however it gives me the distinct feeling that he does need extra. He's really getting into his racing too late, even though his record is very, very good, and I think he will be competitive if he enjoys the extra.
Okay, now on to the first of the two features of the afternoon, two high-quality individuals, Al Sheba and the very talented Royal Crusade.
Yeah, Al Sheba was a little disappointing in the Dingans, but a lot of our runners were up handy that day, and they faded. So Pietro Mascagni's come and put that race behind him. I'm sure Al Sheba can do the same thing. Royal Crusade is a very nice horse, progressive sort. Definitely one that once he's gone 2-4, you'll see the best of him, but he does have a touch of class, and Turfentine Standside Track's probably right up his alley.
You were never going to die wondering about the ability of this horse until he was gelded, and he certainly seems to have turned the corner in no uncertain terms in polar ice.
Yeah, poorly drawn, and obviously a very, very competitive field, I think. But he is a nice sort. I thought that 2 of his last 3 runs have been very, very good. The run in the Secretariat, I think that was just way too short for him. Plus, we decided we'd go with blinkers after that, and that really did changed him. You know, he got a very good ride from Sherman that day, and I thought won not only a good race, a gutsy race. He really looked like for the first time he actually got down and fought for it. Strong race, good 3-year-olds in there, poorly drawn, but he's got gate speed. I'm just hoping to see him follow up, you know, with another good run. Probably hard for him to win, but I think it's an open race.
Yes, funny enough, Andrew, we like to believe that we're proactive, and we like to find the right formula for horses, but I may have gone to the tongue tie a little bit early with Aurelia Cotter, although there was good evidence that she may need help in that department. However, it certainly did send her backwards, and you know, she ran a really positive race in a feature last time, running second without the tongue tie. She's very well weighted here, although there are 1 or 2 that may be better weighted than she is, but she is better weighted than most. And if she enjoys the 9 furlongs, she should be competitive. Silver Guard, another horse that has been slightly disappointing. However, he's got a lovely pedigree and his work at home is solid. And once again, if the 9 furlong is going to be what he needs, he should improve a lot. I was very happy with his Graham Beck run, but disappointed in his Dingaans run.
Lovely. Then, with all the pomp and circumstance surrounding the Lormeron's Queen's Plate, the race goes in Gauteng will be once again treated to the mighty Abashiri, who probably wasn't ridden according to instructions in the Sansui Summer Cup, and it was anything but a bad performance, and he looks like he's well in this particular contest.
Yeah, I agree with you. He does look like he's well in. If I look at the field, I think on a horse that's probably gaining confidence and improving, Mr. de Kock's horse Cascapedia, and the stable in bang form at the moment. That horse's last 2 wins have been really good, and probably the horse that everyone would have to look out for in the race. But Abashiri is doing really well. I think carrying the weight that he did in the Summer Cup and having to come from where he did and only being beaten 4 lengths or just over that, it was a phenomenal run and a great effort by the horse. He's in a good frame at the moment, and we would like him to gain confidence and win in the stepping stone.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. Once again, you know, it's a very competitive race. I was very happy with Bipot's run on the day, and I do believe that if she'd been in the Summer Cup, I think she would have actually gone close. I mean, you know, to be short-headed with another Russia running on very, very strongly, had that race been a little bit further, she would have definitely won it. You know, the fact that she's running against Colt, she's a good filly. I think she's pretty well handicapped here, and 1800 could be right up her street. Yeah, I'll start with Master Switch. I was very disappointed with his run in the in the Sansui Summer Cup. I really felt he was a lively runner, but basically put up no kind of a performance there. I don't want to blame viruses and whatever, but he certainly was a bit. It was a cracking run, I thought, in the Victory Moon, course and distance here, and you could never leave him out. He's a talented horse, and if you had to look past that run in the Summer Cup, well, you know, his Victory Moon run would definitely see him competitive here. And Pagoda, my only reservation, I think it's a shade on the sharp side for him. He really wants 2,000 plus, and you know, we're going with the 1,800 here. If he can get out well and travel, he's the type of horse that probably from quite far off the pace will be unwinding the whole of the length of the straight. I think he's improved as a 4-year-old to you know what was his 3-year-old form. I did like his Summer Cup run, but he once again got into it just a little bit too late. But of course, such a big field, you're quite far off if you're coming. You know, if you're coming from off the pace, there are a lot of horses you've got to get by. You tend to get shuffled back further than what you want to see. Bit of a smaller field here. If he can get himself within, hopefully 6-7 lengths, you know, of the pacemakers turning for home, he could run them down.
He's never ever disgraced you, but he seems to be in the pink of health at the moment and running beautiful races in French Navy.
It's funny you talk about tongue ties. The tongue ties just brought him back to form, and that he's really been very, very competitive. He hasn't had things his own way in quite a few races, but the media like to make a meal of the fact that he hasn't won for a while. They never mention how much money he's earned in the meanwhile. Yeah, he's doing really well. I was happy with his run in the Pinnacle. I think that may have just brought him to his peak, and he's got to be a big runner.
Matador Man, clearly very talented, somewhat enigmatic, but on his day, top class.
I think Matador Man's very talented horse. I think maybe he just wasn't right his last few runs, although there was nothing obvious. His coat just didn't turn, and it's certainly turning now. I was encouraged with his last effort in the Pinnacle, and I think once again, if he sees out the tough 9 furlongs, he's got to be a big runner.
Then on to Samurai Blade and Witchcraft, the latter an absolutely smashing run last time out, and Samurai Blade, we know, what kind of performances he's capable of.
Yeah, I'm very glad they put this race back on for us. You know, these stayers don't seem to get a lot of opportunity. You start with Go Direct. I think the trip is right for him. I'm still guessing a little bit. He won a terrific race, actually beating Master Switch in a Pinnacle last season, where he absolutely flew from the back of the field. And he always gave us the impression that a 2-4, he could just sit and build up in his own good time and get there. Being by Go Deputy, you're never quite sure if they stay or not. They look like they're going to stay, but some of them don't. Ride him conservatively, middle of the pack. Gav knows him well, and I'll just let him make the call from, you know, where he wants to go. Obviously a talented little guy, and I think he's a runner there. Star Path, where I won't say experimenting. We've all been of the opinion that he wants ground for quite a while now. He's been to the races a few times and not actually got to run, with rained out or whatever it happens to be. But a very talented little guy, but completely unexposed. Well, we're going to expose him here because you're running against some real hard-knocking old stayers, and he's only a one-time winner, but you've got bottom weight. I've always fancied him running in feature races, actually, over ground. If you can get in the money here in a Pinnacle plate, then I think in the good stayers races, handicaps, he might be a proposition.
Then on to Smart Mart. Maybe his best days are behind him, but you do know that he's a fit horse and he can deliver. He's a gutsy individual.
He is maybe a little disappointed in his last 2 runs back, but he did need them quite badly. He has improved a lot at home and is working a lot better. So I wouldn't be too discouraged by his last 2 runs. I think you can include him in a couple of your wider perms, etc.
Once again, very happy with Samurai Blade's last run. I think to drop him out off a sedate pace and for him to finish off the way in which he did was really pleasing. I think we could be a bit more positive on Sunday and go forward with him. That may be more to his liking. Witchcraft is one over the trip. Found the 1800 meter a little sharp for her, although she did everything right. She just couldn't quicken at the business end. I think both have to beat Fortissimo, but yeah, both with chances.
Yeah, she won a very nice race last time. This is a big step up in class now. She's taking on the boys at weight for age level. So it's a big ask, but she seems to be improving as those Northern Hemisphere fillies do. So she's in a good space and we're expecting a big run.
Final race in the card sees Grab the Gavel take her place.
Yeah, she ran a nice race last time. She is limited, but this isn't a great field. She should love the distance and we're expecting her to run well.
Okay, then to put the lid on the day, Aquila Warrior and Imperial Ounce in race 10.
Imperial Ounce is a horse that should have won his last start. Things went horribly wrong in the race and it looks like an ordinary run on form, but it was a very good run. However, he will need this from a deep draw. And Aquila Warrior, funny enough, has improved with gelding. I had him in 2 really good races where he had drawn well, but he didn't make the field. And yeah, he makes the field off a very ordinary draw. He's the type of horse that always shows me that he wants to go forward, but off that draw we're going to be forced to come from off them and see him finish well. You know, both have got outside chances, but no confidence from the draws.
I remember a few weeks back talking to you about Barano, and you and Timothy looked at each other and said, not quite ready. He may well be a lot more ready than he was on that occasion this Sunday.
Yeah, I think he will, Andy. He's another one probably going to have to be gelded. But funny, Marco jumped off him and said, don't geld yet because he's still quite immature. Give him another run or 2 over a bit further and just see how he goes. He's shown us much better work than what we saw in that first run. I don't want to say put a line through it, but it clearly just wasn't there for it. Not particularly well drawn here, so we'll have to drop him in again. But I think the distance will suit him a lot better. I still don't think he's ready to win, but you know, he's one of these watch this space horses. He's gonna get there in time.
And then Mr. Cuddles in the same race?
A nice little horse. I like him. Bonny little horse, really. He always does a good day's work. Goes home bucking. He's just a fresh, happy little horse. Good first run, I thought, and this trip will be much more to his liking. And while it looks like a hard race to win, definitely want to include, I think, for places.